Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is my dictator presentation. My dictator is Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini. Ayatollah Khomeini is a towering figure in modern Islamic history. He emerged as the spiritual leader who led the 1979 Iranian Revolution, toppling the decades-long rule of Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. Khomeini's rise to power marked a seismic shift in Iran's political landscape, replacing a monarchy with an Islamic republic. His leadership not only reshaped the nation's governance, but also left an impactful mark on the global perception of political Islam. This intro seeks to explore the many aspects of Ayatollah Khomeini's ascendancy and his enduring impact through the lens of 8 artifacts that symbolize pivotal moments, ideologies, and challenges during this transformative period in Iran's history. These artifacts, ranging from political cartoons to religious decrees and representations of the Iran-Iraq War, offer a nuanced understanding of Khomeini's leadership and the complex socio-political landscape he navigated. Without further ado, let us begin. As we enter the hallways, let's go to room A. So this first artifact displays the fatwa against Shah's rule. The issuance of Ayatollah Khomeini's fatwa against the rule of Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi was a transformative and pivotal event that played a crucial role in shaping the trajectory of the Iranian Revolution. This religious decree, or fatwa, was a formal declaration of opposition to the Shah's regime and marked the beginning of a movement that would eventually lead to the establishment of the Islamic Republic of Iran. In the years leading up to the fatwa, Iran was experiencing widespread discontent with the rule of Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. Grievances included political repression, economic inequality, and a perceived Western influence that fueled anti-government sentiments. Ayatollah had been living in exile, primarily in Iraq and later in France. From his exile, he continued to criticize the Shah's regime and declared the Shah's rule as illegitimate and incompatible with Islamic principles. In the fatwa, Ayatollah condemned the Shah's policies, accusing him of being a puppet of foreign powers and leading Iran away from its Islamic roots. The fatwa served as a powerful rallying cry, mobilizing various segments of Iranian society, including religious groups, students, and the working class. The fatwa not only galvanized internal opposition, but also played a role in Ayatollah's return to Iran. The widespread support for the religious decree created an atmosphere supportive to the establishment of an Islamic government. Now, let us go see the second artifact. So the second artifact is called The Shah's Exile and Khomeini's Return. Imitating the traditional Iranian coffeehouse paintings used for picture storytelling, this poster illustrates Mohammad Reza Shah's exile from Iran, marking the end of the revolution and Ayatollah's return. Hurrying past the noose, the Shah flees across the Persian Gulf towards Egypt, accompanied by a black dog and red devil. Cash and gold coins tumble out of his luggage, stamped with American and British flags. In the upper right, the Ayatollah, holding a Quran, hovers above the demonstrations and executions that took place during the revolution. In the background, the Eiffel Tower and the Najaf Shrine remind the viewer of Khomeini's exile in Iraq and France prior to his triumphant return to Iran. Since posters produced by the Islamic regime after 1979 reimagined the revolution as an ideologically Islamic one, Hamid Dabashi refers to it as an Islamicized rather than an Islamic revolution in their staging a revolution. These posters displaying revolutionary slogans and imagery during these protests against the Shah illustrate the role of propaganda in mobilizing public sentiment and fostering a sense of unity among those supporting Khomeini's cause. As we continue, let us go to our third artifact. This third artifact, called Uncle Sam's Skull Strangulated by a Collective Fist, is a representation of times during the revolution where American icons were often used to demonize and symbolically threaten the US. Khomeini and many other Iranians considered the US an enemy of the opposition movement, as evidenced by the CIA-sponsored coup of 1953, which resulted in the return of the Pahlavi monarchy that many Iranians viewed as a puppet government propped up by the United States and Great Britain. The top hat of Uncle Sam is drawn atop a human skull that is being crushed by a large fist. The fist, which is a common symbol of revolution and revolt, shows the influence of Russian and Latin American revolutionary graphics on Iranian revolutionary imagery. Commissioned for the Conference of International Liberation Movements in Tehran, this poster seems to argue for the power of collective action to defeat American hegemony. Such symbolic depictions of the United States were used to galvanize Iranians against the so-called Great Satan. Khomeini hoped that the Iranian Revolution would spread across the Islamic world, emboldening other Muslims, in Saudi Arabia and Iraq most especially, to overthrow their US-backed and European-supported governments. Redirecting our attention to the fourth artifact, here we have a wounded protester under Khomeini breaking through a US flag. In a dramatic representation of the Iranian Revolution, this poster illustrates the chaos and violence of the demonstrations leading to the collapse of the Pahlavi monarchy and the return of Ayatollah. Painted in an expressionist style reminiscent of Cuban revolutionary art, a wounded protester lies bleeding on the ground, holding up a green banner that bears the revolutionary slogan, "Independence, Freedom, Islamic Republic." Above the revolutionary fray, Khomeini's visage burst through a tattered US flag, symbolic of Iran breaking free of US influence. Through the implied presence of Khomeini during the events leading up to the Iranian Revolution, the Islamic Republic recast the visual remembrance of the People's Uprising as headed by the future supreme religious leader of the Islamic Republic. Khomeini's return mobilized massive crowds and symbolized the beginning of the end of the Pahlavi dynasty. This image reflects the widespread support for Khomeini's leadership as well as anti-US sentiments. Down the hallway we continue. For our fifth artifact, it's an excerpt or a display from the Islamic Republic Constitution, which represents a critical document that encapsulates the foundational principles of governance established after the Iranian Revolution of 1979. This constitution reflects the institutionalization of Ayatollah's vision for an Islamic state and outlines the structural and ideological framework that would help shape the political landscape of the newly formed Islamic Republic of Iran. Ayatollah sought to establish an Islamic state based on the principles of Shia Islam. The drafting and ratification of the Islamic Republic Constitution marked the formalization of this vision for him. The Constitution draws heavily on Islamic principles, particularly Shia beliefs. It outlines the role of Islamic law, Sharia, as the primary source of legislation, emphasizing the implementation of religious values in the legal and political spheres. One of the key innovations of the Constitution is the establishment of the concept of Valayete Faqih, I promise I did not just curse at you, or the guardianship of the jurist. This principle designates the supreme leader, Faqih, a religious scholar, as the highest authority in the country, with significant powers over both religious and political matters. The Islamic Republic Constitution serves as a lasting legacy of Ayatollah Khomeini's vision for an Islamic state. It institutionalized his ideas, providing a blueprint for the governance of Iran based on Shia Islamic principles. The document remains a fundamental aspect of Iran's political and legal framework. On to our sixth artifact. Alright, here we have the US can do nothing. In this poster, a portrait of Khomeini hangs alongside a crowd of demonstrators. Out-of-focus fists thrust into the air as international symbols of defiance and resistance. Red text across the portrait of Khomeini reads, "The US cannot do anything," a statement addressed to both an Iranian and American audience. The banner vilifies the US and its attempts to interfere in Iranian domestic politics. It also may be seen as a reference to the American hostages who were held captive during the 444-day siege of the United States Embassy in Tehran. Khomeini's assertive leadership style is likely to have been emphasized in these cartoons. The hostage crisis was a demonstration of Iran's newfound assertiveness under the Islamic Republic, challenging established geopolitical norms. Cartoons may have portrayed Khomeini as a strong leader guiding Iran through a period of confrontation with the West. The cartoons may have incorporated nationalistic themes, depicting Iranians as unified in their resistance against this external interference. This sentiment of standing up to foreign powers aligned with Khomeini's rhetoric, emphasizing the importance of national sovereignty and resistance against imperialist influences. We almost reached the end of this presentation. We are going to continue with the seventh artifact. This artifact or portrait is the fist-crushing Iraqi jet. Rising up from a crowd of Iranian protesters, a large fist crushes an Iraqi jet in a symbolic act of defiance and projected victory during Iran's war with Iraq. The jet is emblazoned with the flags of the USSR and the United States, further rejecting the interference of foreign powers in the newly established Islamic Republic. The fist is found in the visual propaganda of other revolutions of the 20th century. The poster's artist symbolically aligns Iranian mass mobilization with this widely recognizable symbol of defiance. The unity of the Iranian people during the revolution, and now against their Iraqi enemy, is depicted as the root cause of political triumph and military success. These propaganda posters from the Iran-Iraq war period highlight Khomeini's role as a wartime leader. These artifacts demonstrate how the external threat of war was used to strengthen domestic unity and loyalty to the Islamic Republic. Now for our eighth and final artifact. This here is labeled as "These are our heroes." The enlistment of young boys in the Basij, a paramilitary force, symbolizes a nationalistic mobilization under Khomeini's leadership. It reflects the Iranian government's call for a united front against the external threat posed by Iraq. Khomeini's influence is evident in the with which young individuals are willing to join the front lines to defend their newly established Islamic Republic. The depiction of a young boy preparing to join the Basij embodies the sacrifice encouraged by Khomeini's leadership. The imagery reinforces the narrative that defending the Islamic Republic is a duty and a form of martyrdom. This aligns with Khomeini's emphasis on self-sacrifice in the name of Islam and the nation. Nonetheless, his statement, "It is better if you call me servant, rather leader," reflects an attempt to instill humility and a sense of service among the young Basijis. This aligns with Khomeini's emphasis on a leadership style rooted in Islamic principles and service to the people. Well, this is the ending of our lovely presentation. As I walk you out to the exit, I want to reiterate that the exploration of Ayatollah Khomeini's rise to power and legacy through the lens of these 8 artifacts reveals a intricate narrative of Iran's transformation. Khomeini's leadership, rooted in Islamic principles and a call for self-sacrifice, along with the establishment of an Islamic Republic, dismantling a long-standing monarchy, we find not only a reflection of Khomeini's influence, but also a complex relationship of faith, nationalism, and the challenges in the revolutionary path he forged. Ayatollah Khomeini's legacy continues to shape Iran's trajectory and reverberate across the broader Islamic world, leaving an imprint that transcends borders and decades. Thank you all for your attention. This concludes my presentation. Have an amazing day, and goodbye.